Hey, thanks for watching another episode. This is going to be we're going to be talking about a little bit about food plots, but also about hunting strategies. I'm in the northernmost part of an area that we call the grown-up field, and it's basically the biggest transition area on the property. There's some islands of trees in here that are kind of obstructing the view a little bit, but it's about 20, I think it's roughly about 20 acres in size, and it borders two big food plots. Not food plots, sanctuaries, big wood lots. There is two food plots in it that we hunt, but out to the west and southwest is the biggest wood lot. And then back behind me, down behind a few of these islands of trees, is another wood lot. It's about 30 acres or so. And those are the two biggest sanctuaries that we can hunt on this farm. Now, the least intrusive spot on this farm to hunt is going to be right behind me in a second, where we've set up another Redneck Blind. It's a very lightweight blind that can be set on a stand. It is going to be something that we're really looking forward to hunting this coming year. So this fence, this electric fence that we have out here, we're actually going to leave it up for longer to help the soybeans to produce more pods and not get mowed down a lot during early season. We're also going to plant some autumn quick plot, which is a really nice seed blend from Frigid Forage, probably directly where I'm standing. So we're going to have kind of two main sources of food and different types of food for late season. And also with the autumn quick plot, it'll make a little bit of an early season attraction as well. Beyond that Redneck Blind, we have barns and sheds and the house and things. And so the deer typically are traveling through this field. They're not going to go behind that blind. So that blind is actually set up at the very edge of this transition area that allows us to have easy access in, and more importantly, exiting the blind after the hunt's over, legal shooting light is gone. To where we're not alerting any of the deer to our presence and letting them know that we're trying to hunt them. We've moved this food plot a little bit from last year to a little bit more to the north, so we can actually be further away from the main part of the transition area while still having the best entry and exit. This also, how it's set up, this field in the very southern part of it is where we have the big Redneck Blind. Awesome to hunt out of. Absolutely love that thing. But it's far down in the field, so it's deeper in the transition area. So on the exit of our hunt, we have a better chance of spooking deer. So that is a spot that we don't really hunt early season. When we're ready to take a chance and there's less food out available to the deer, we could probably move down there later in the season. We might take a chance maybe in October or during the rut and things like that. But another important part in this field, that talking about early season patterns, another important part that changes those patterns, whether the deer move through the northern part of the field, the middle of the field, or the southern part of the field, which when they do that, they're going to the ag fields, which are back behind me out to the east. When those deer, when their pattern changes a little bit, it's typically due to water availability. What I mean by that, the only water source on this farm is creeks. And there's only one big active creek, and that is actually out to the west and northwest from this location, which is basically straight to my left. There's a little feeder creek that's back behind me, and that runs from that southern woodlot. And that feeder creek dries up during the summer months. And even going into fall, it's a lot drier, and until we start getting a lot more rain, it is really not an active water source. So if we have a really good pattern on a deer early in the season, and that pattern is in the south of this field, it is typically due to water availability down there. But when it gets drier, that deer is going to disappear off trail camera, and he's going to typically come through this transition area on the northern part of this field. And that's because that creek in the north and west on this farm, it stays wet and active all year round, regardless of the droughts or less rain during the summer. So I'm going to go to the southern part of the field now and show you what we're doing in that field. It's a little bit different than up here. So now we're in the area that we call South Grown Up. It's basically the southern part of this field, and the two wood lots meet, and they create an L-shaped. One going to the northwest, and then the base of that L goes out to the east and northeast. So it's almost an inside corner is what this essentially is. And then back behind me down in there is an area we call the Pinch. That's where Mark Helmer shot a buck that we called Ali last year. It's basically a tight little funnel or pinch between the two wood lots, so it's a good rut hunting spot. Helps funnel the deer's movement. But anyways, this food plot, we planted soybeans earlier, and it's not protected. Very interesting what happened to this food plot, which I'll explain why in a minute. And the main reason why is, I don't know if you've noticed in that last food plot up in the north that we call North Grown Up, there was a lot of weeds in there. And some of y'all make fun of me or whatever. That's fine, because the food plot's not as pristine as some of these other hunters and different shows. I'm not a big fan of putting chemicals on vegetation. I'm just not a big fan of it. Well, this field I did perform a very light spraying, and the reason for that was we first planted this food plot in forage soybeans just to help feed the deer earlier on, to help make them a little healthier, a little boost of protein for the overall health of the herd. And they ate it so quickly and destroyed it so fast there was nothing left. Well, with that happening, the deer kind of left this area, and in leaving this area and no sprays being used, the actual weeds got really out of control. And since I didn't do any type of maintenance or anything, I mean, the weeds just soared. Well, it allowed those soybeans to recover. It's kind of funny. So we have a lot of soybeans in here now just because the weeds all grew up over and around it, but there was still enough sunlight that came through and they were able to recover. The deer kind of, quit coming through here. They quit browsing on it. So we actually have a decent little soybean plot now. Now some of this is not going to be able to recover it, so I'm just going to bush hog it, disc it up, and we really love that autumn quick plot seed blend from Frigid Forage, so we're just going to be planting that here in about a month or so. Today we have a really good chance of rain, and I'm monitoring the radar, so I may overseed a little bit of Big and Beastie around where I sprayed. I sprayed roughly, 3/8 to a half an acre, just a small little area. And so I can actually broadcast some Big and Beastie in there. So I'm really looking forward to that, because we'll have the Big and Beastie and the beans available, both great late season blends. And even if we have a good pattern on a buck through here, we may try it early season. I'm not for sure what we're going to actually get into on the next video outside of trail cameras, but we're actually going to wait to start putting our trail cameras up until August 1st. So we haven't put any trail cameras out. The neighboring farm the farmer there, he's an avid bird watcher and photographer, and he's taken some decent pictures of a few bucks that we knew from last year. So we're gonna probably show you those in the next episode as well. But regardless, the next episode should be trail camera and, you know, a few things on that. But for now, God bless each and every one of you, and thanks for watching the Whitetail Factor.